All right, hello again, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So today I'm actually going to briefly share what I believe is kind of pivotal if you want to get more things done. First of all, I guess that's my emphasis, but then also, how to kind of navigate the overwhelming amount of things to do if you are in that situation. I'm going to be speaking about all this in an OP perspective, but I mean, this is just as true even if you have no clue what OP is. But basically, for the past 4 months or 5 months, I've been really big on Atomic Habits. I've basically tried to place my faith in that approach and, really just try and find a way to trust the process that if I make tiny improvements every day, I will eventually, exponentially improve my life, to a certain degree. Now, I think this, over the past few months, I'm starting to realize that might be a bit of a naive approach or an incomplete understanding of what I guess the point of Atomic Habits is. And one of the ways that I think I've been confused was in terms of this. I mean, this is not exclusive to Atomic Habits. Everyone has given this advice at some point, right? If there's too much to do, break it down into little steps, like, bite the elephant one, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Like those type of sayings are very much what this infographic is about, right? Where it's like you have this huge amount of stuff to do on the left-hand side, but you break it down to literally that one step just to kind of keep yourself moving and to kind of, get the thing done as opposed to being paralyzed. But I think one thing that I'm realizing is that, well, two things. One, that this is actually extremely hard for me to do or to trust. I usually try and overshoot, or at least I did, right? So, I would, let's say there was something that I knew I needed to do. I would try and work for 10 minutes as opposed to 1 minute. I would try and work for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or try and get it done that day. And I do think that is a default of mine that I think kind of led me to not really appreciate this approach. I think the second thing, though, and I do think this is connected to OP, is that I do think that I kind of overanalyzed from an information perspective, and it kind of led me to not actually doing this. And what do I mean by this? Basically, I believe that by this process that this is depicting, I do believe that this is the Energy Dom process. Whenever they say they're trying to process how to do things or how to get things done, right? I recently had a conversation, or I guess this is a few months ago, had a conversation with Rose, me on the left-hand side looking like a goober right there. But, it was a really great conversation. But one thing that she clarified in this interview or this conversation was that with sleep, with Energy Dom, she's always tracking, first of all, she's always tracking her energy expenditure patterns and the people around her, the energy expenditure of people around her, what their patterns are, so that whenever they needed to work on something, she would know what to expect, who to work with, who to not work with, when to work, right? As well as, what steps to take. So there's that constant processing of, okay, if I have to do this, what are the steps I need to take to get from A to B? And I genuinely don't do that. I really think I get too distracted by the information, or I get too overwhelmed by the sheer volume of what needs to be done. For me to actually sit back and try and basically really sleep process, how am I going to get from A to B? So that's kind of the first thing I wanted to bring up. The second thing in relation to that is kind of more so supporting evidence, I guess. So going back to the definitions, so these are the objective personality definitions. If you look at how energy and infodom are defined, once again, energy dom is defined as respecting the time and energy things take, whereas infodom is respecting the information and enjoying sharing it. So whereas with me, it's like, I think when it comes to productivity, or overwhelm, going back to this slide, I would be the type of person that would be, basically, stressed out beyond belief. I would complain about it to everyone. I would ask for help, or I would disappear on everyone and just kind of, get super depressed and not move and make things pile up for weeks. And, I would maybe do lip service to this process of focusing on this, but I don't think I actually took the time of saying, okay, if I'm going to get all of this stuff resolved or delegated or whatever, if I'm going to actually deal with the overwhelm, I wouldn't actually think of, okay, what's step 1, step 2, step 3, all the way up to step 100. And so, hopefully this is like at least somewhat clear. The point I'm trying to make here is that I think that this process is extremely important, but I think for infodoms, especially sleep last, is going to be especially difficult because it's forcing you to stop worrying about the accuracy of the info, and it's forcing you to basically sleep process what are the steps that you need to do and what are the steps that other people need to do in order to get something done before you get started, right? And I guess that's the important emphasis, right? You're preparing before the execution, right? And I think this is something that, especially Sleep Last, I don't think we do. I think we just jump in and then we get in trouble and then we run away the moment something isn't easy. But I do think that, moving forward, I mean, this is definitely something that I'm doing. I do have a doc on that. I don't know if I feel comfortable sharing that right now, but I am starting to, I mean, it's kind of quite embarrassing, but I'm literally breaking it down to like something that would take 30 seconds to do, 2 seconds to do. So if let's say there's a really important customer issue, which I do have at work, I would basically break it down to, okay, step 1 is to open my laptop. Step 2 is to open my email. Step 2 is to search whatever term in my email. And it would be that granular. But the cool thing about that is that once I have that laid out, the execution feels really, really easy. And it actually feels almost fun because it's like you're doing 1 2-minute thing after another. And then all of a sudden you're done with the task, at least for that day. So it does provide momentum, but at least for me, it does feel weird at first. I'm not used to sleep processing to that degree on the front end, like planning everything before I start. I'm not used to that. But I guess that's something that I'm learning not only from, graphs like this and Atomic Habits, who's also written by James Clear and Energy Dom, but also conversations with people like Rose who kind of just share how they approach things. So I'm very grateful for that. And, just wanted to share that with you in the classic info dom fashion, right? Enjoying sharing what I've learned, right? So that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will definitely put some links in the description below for you to kind of reference this stuff. But other than that, hope you guys are doing well. And hopefully you're able to use this to help break down maybe some things you're avoiding in your life to something extremely tiny and make that progress and really prepare at each step before you start. That might make you feel a bit better. So hopefully this gives you some insight or some hope as to getting through whatever situation you're in. So other than that, hope you guys have a great day whenever you watch this, and I will see you in the next video that I make. Take care.